Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr., and I'm joined by WWE superstar, Greg Miller.
Blessing,
Greg.
at what point, it's the first week in the spare bedroom, only the second Kinda Funny Games Daily in person in the spare bedroom. At what point what are we going to do about the fog machines? Because it's great to say, turn on the fog machines! Thank you.
A little delay.
Well, Barrett's running like 19 things in
Of
there. I
course.
can understand it taking a second to slide over because it wasn't for me. But like, are we going to do every episode with that? Is that going to be a contained thing?
My question is, do the audio listeners hear the fog?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, great.
Okay, because that was my big concern. Is like, do they understand what's going on?
You know, yesterday when I did it, it was the idea of like it's the first Games Daily. In the
Sure.
studio.
Oh,
You
I
gotta do
agree.
it. And now, Greg, this is your first episode of Games Daily in the studio, so that's why I don't want to overuse it for sure. But
I mean,
it's
the
the
big-
first week, it's exciting.
I'm not critiquing you. This is an open conversation, and I'm glad you're a part of it, Barrett.
Good.
Because of course the conversation I'm just bringing up is it could go one of two ways, where we use it too much and it's no longer special, or we're gonna save it for special occasions and then inevitably we would just stop using it. You understand what I mean?
I mean, there's a third option, which it breaks in 6 months. I don't want to jinx us,
Don't say
but
that,
I've never
Blessing.
met a
You're gonna
fog
get
machine
Kevin
that has
Hart
lasted
attack.
that long.
Have you ever met a fog machine that's controlled by a thing in a control room that does all these things? This is a
I'm not.
high-end fog machine. And I'll tell
right.
you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if this fog machine, number one, breaks in 6 months, or number two, just not stops getting used, because again, if we brought it down for a special occasion and we only set it off and we give a review score or some bullshit, then it's fine. But if we just stopped, I'm going to be pissed. Because back there, Blessing, there is so much fog juice.
Oh, do we have a lot of fog juice? That was going to be my next question is, don't we run out of... Because we run... All right, Greg is going to go grab some fog juice. I'm going to keep enjoying the show. Today's stories include Microsoft taking on Apple and Google, PlayStation blocking Call of Duty from Game Pass, and an update on the Bayonetta 3 fiasco, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you
Blessing,
through the
this is how
nerdy
much
news you need to know
fucking
about.
fog juice we have. All right?
Jesus Christ.
Do you understand that we are going to have to use the fog machine? Again, I'm not against using it every day. I'm not against using it on every maybe specific shift. I'm just saying there's a lot of fog juice here.
Barrett, is there like a fog meter? Like, what is, every single time you use the fog machine, how much fog juice is getting taken up?
I have no idea.
Because my question is, how long does one of these last? If each of these is like a month of fog
Here's
juice.
the thing. The two fog machines are over there. They've been having a great time, and we've been using them since we got them.
Yeah.
We have used a quarter of this jug. Now, I'm not a scientist. I can't speak to the fact of is it possible we already used a whole jug in there and then we're topping them off? That's a cool Red Kevin Barrett
Yeah,
question.
that's a
But I
Kevin
think
question.
Barrett hasn't been on that part.
I think my thing for KFGD is that we do have dialed in moments in the show where we do like we have the doot-to-doots, we have the
I mean, let's be clear. A baker's dozen.
Yeah.
That's pretty
like
cool.
that makes sense.
That's pretty cool.
And I feel like that's pretty cool, but do we get to, let's say, week 4 of doing that and it gets old and people are like, all right, we get it. You guys have a fog machine. It's really cool.
I mean, we got to figure it out. We got to ride it out. We got to feel
It's
it.
a happy medium. I feel like for KFGD, we don't need to use the fog machine every single day because that's a daily
Today,
fog
ladies
machine.
and gentlemen,
that
sad
feels like
news,
too much.
more media layoffs. Fog everywhere.
I feel like I don't need to hear a fog machine and get scared by a fog
I
machine
checked
every
in
single
with
day.
Blessing yesterday. I was like, hey, what's the first news story? Because I want to do the fog machine, but if the first news story is like
G4 layoffs.
Tragic
like-
news out of the video
Yeah,
game
that's it.
industry.
You got to read the room there, you know?
Yeah. But like Gamescast, yeah, give a review score. Anytime a game gets a 5 out of 5, that feels like a great moment. When we probably do a big game review, when we review Sonic Frontiers one day, give it a 5 out of 5.
This Friday, we're previewing God of War. Are we fogging it up? Okay, here's another one. Let's begin the show as we always do with topic of the show. Tots.
Can you do like that? Can you time it? Can you
Oh, he's
time
got
it with the
tots
tots?
already to
Oh,
go
shit,
already.
look at Barrett.
I was talking about, do we do a fog machine with, there's a lot to figure out. The new studio is an exciting thing. Patreon.com/kindofun.
But for now, let's continue with the rigmarole. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free, plus a bevy of bonus content. Housekeeping for you. A new Kinda Funny Gamescast is up this morning. It's Greg's review of Ghostbusters, Mike's preview of Dead Space, my impressions of Street Fighter 6, and Tim's Marvel Snap impressions. That is up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. And it's our first episode from the studio. And it was a banger.
Great energy. Great energy. A lot of great games to talk about and a lot of fun stuff done.
Go check that out. Also, if you're getting ready for Gotham Knights, Barrett edited together all 4 episodes of the Arkham Files together into one long video to get us all hyped and to look back at the Arkham games one last time before Gotham Knights releases this Friday. You can check it out on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Yeah, this Friday.
I feel like that's one that snuck up on us.
I feel like a lot of games are sneaking up on us. Did you know Scorn came out?
Yeah.
I missed that. Like Scorn came out, and I was like, I was talking to friends. They're like, "Yeah, do you play Scorn?" I'm like, "You played Scorn?
Yeah.
That's
They
available."
didn't like it though, right?
Most of them didn't like. Some of them do like it though. A lot of people are like, "Yo, it's nasty, but in a good way."
Gotta get
But
better
then other
friends.
people are like, "It's nasty, but not in a
Did
good
you
way."
see the custom Xbox controller they sent us that I brought out on the stream?
No, I did not.
I gave
see
it to
that.
Mike. It came in a little chest cavity that you opened up, and then it had like organs on it and stuff. It's gross.
Oh my god! Have you been keeping up with like the other games that are coming out? Because I feel like now we've hit the point where
I'd like
it
to
is
think I have been, but maybe I
multiple
haven't been.
games a week that are
Well,
coming
yeah,
out.
we're in the heart of review season. You
Yeah.
can smell it in the air. You know what I mean? It's happening. Game
God,
codes are coming in left and right.
I played like 30 seconds of Mario Rabbids, and that's like another man. I think the reason why all of these games are sneaking up on us because we kind of launched a studio.
Yeah.
Of course. And now, did I just Google Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope to make sure that the embargo's
Embargo's up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, we can talk about that? Holy
Oh,
shit. Yeah. And I also, that was one of the ones where I played a couple hours, and I was like, man, I would love to keep playing this, but
Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap, and a God of War Ragnarok, a bunch of games came in our inbox.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about a lot of those games right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Stay tuned. Gamescast. P.S. I love you. Kinda Funny Games Daily. All that good
I
stuff.
feel like I just threw you off because I tried to mug to a camera and there wasn't one on me, but then I saw you start looking around like, fuck, which camera's on?
Where am I looking at? Red means
Red
on.
means it's yeah.
Green
that's
does not
live.
mean go.
Green means it'll be next.
That's really confusing. We gotta fix
You got
that.
no. I
No,
get it
that's
in the end.
No, that's not an us thing. That's an old production thing that we're not.
Red means it's hot. It's
Yeah,
live.
Red means
you
hot.
know what I mean.
Red is lava. But then why did we make green the next one? I feel like that should be a yellow for pending.
I agree.
Or
Caution.
some shit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that.
Yeah. Can we get that? Can we make that change?
I have no idea. Probably
All right.
not.
No.
We'll talk to Kevin later. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Fargo Brady, on YouTube. Today we're brought to you by Shopify and Raycon, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today,
A baker's dozen.
starting with our number
See, I
one.
like that. I like that one.
That's cool. You know what? I might get used to it. Even though I feel like I'm still at the place where 3 weeks from now, we do a baker's dozen. I'm not
Sure.
going to be like, all right, we get it. Is the audience going to be like, all right, we get it. We'll figure it out later. Story number 1, Microsoft is planning an Xbox mobile storefront to rival Apple and Google. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. The UK government's investigation of Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition has revealed the company is currently developing its own Xbox mobile storefront to rival Apple and Google. As reported by The Verge, Microsoft presented documents to the UK's Competition and Markets Authority that claim its purchasing of Call of Duty publisher Activision Blizzard is, in part, to expand its mobile game presence. Quote, the transaction will improve Microsoft's ability to create a next-generation game store, which operates across a range of devices, including mobile, as a result of the addition of Activision Blizzard's content, the filing reads. It continues, quote, building on Activision Blizzard's existing communities of gamers, Xbox will seek to scale the Xbox Store to mobile, attracting gamers to a new Xbox mobile platform. Shifting consumers away from the Google Play Store and the App Store on mobile devices will, however, require a major shift in consumer behavior. Microsoft hopes that by offering well-known and popular content, gamers will be more inclined to try something new, end quote. It's unclear exactly what Xbox's mobile store would look like, but it would seemingly be a more dedicated way for users to purchase and play games through Xbox Cloud Gaming directly from a mobile phone. While this isn't unlike services that it offers already, it would also allow Microsoft to give developers more freedom and sell add-ons directly, an initiative that Microsoft has spoken about pursuing previously. This can make Xbox's platform more desirable to developers who, unlike on Apple's App Store, wouldn't lose a portion of the profit on every microtransaction. Acquiring Activision Blizzard would certainly help Microsoft carve out a space in mobile gaming. The company noted later in the filing that 3/4 of Activision Blizzard's monthly active users are mobile customers, a colossal amount considering it also owns one of the most consistently popular online games of all time in World of Warcraft, Overwatch 2, and the aforementioned Call of Duty franchise. The filing also noted that Activision Blizzard's mobile titles, including Candy Crush Saga, Call of Duty Mobile, and Diablo Immortal, accounted for more than half of its overall revenue in the first half of this year. Greg, Microsoft creating an Xbox mobile platform. One, does it surprise you? Two, do you think they can do it and be successful with it?
It's my main question is, how much of this is reading into it what we want from it as hardcore core gamers, whatever you want to call us, right? And not mobile gamers. Because as I'm listening to you read the first few paragraphs, right, it's sounding like they want to just make a mobile game store. They're talking about a range of devices, sure. Mobile is a result of the addition of Activision Blizzard's content, which, of course, we know they bought because of one of the reasons they bought was the King games, was the success they found on mobile with phone games, right? And then a new Xbox mobile platform, right? Shifting them away from Google Play and an App Store, which already don't sell cloud access to Halo Infinite, State of Decay, Grounded, nothing like that, right? And then it's the article itself from IGN and Ryan here that transition over to, right? And clearly states it. It's unclear exactly what Xbox's mobile store would look like, but it would seemingly be a more dedicated way for users to purchase and play games through Xbox Cloud Gaming directly through a mobile phone. I feel like that's the rub, is that there's two different lanes here, where it literally is, this is our Xbox mobile store where we sell our mobile games, and there is maybe the app there to get cloud gaming so you could go in and do it and have your gateway to it be that way. And then there's what I would like to think, and again, if I was a betting man, again, because I think I've just been burned so many times by video game companies saying they're going to do this thing. Oh, it's the PlayStation mobile experience. It's going to be, oh no, it's just a siloed mobile piece of shit nobody cares about. They get killed in 4 years. If I'm a betting man and what Phil Spencer and what Xbox have talked about wanting to do and proven what they wanted to do and gone for it, I do think it's the second lane, which is cool. This is the Xbox store on a mobile platform. It is the ability, yes, to go through and buy those games. It is the ability that all the mobile games are there under one roof, that you could get that way, but they are alongside your instant access to launch a Halo Infinite, to launch a Grounded, to use Xbox Game Pass, to buy something that way, to use cloud gaming. From that angle, I think it makes perfect sense for Xbox trying to take over the world. And what Xbox is trying to do, of course, which is take over every screen you own with the Xbox platform and not have it be the box underneath your TV anymore, have it be this thing that is ubiquitous and everywhere. Of course, the very start of it, right, is talking about storefront to rival Apple and Google. Well, we will see what Apple and Google think about that in a court of law. As we already saw them go after Epic Games and have the whole Fortnite lawsuit and Tim Sweeney and yada, yada, yada. Like, this won't be that easy. And, of course, talking about all the hurdles that are there then of what you can actually do, for me, right, Greg Miller, the moment I was like, wait, what the fuck's going on with Apple and storefronts and 30% of every purchase made was Comixology. I read my comics digitally. I loved the original Comixology where I could open up the app and I could buy my books right there and have a great time. And then, of course, one day, bam, all that was gone. And instead it was, no, this is your reader app. If you want to buy the books, you have to buy them through the .com, because Comixology was sick of splitting profits with Apple and Google, arguably, right? And so, how does Xbox get around that here? What do they do with that? How do they make that work? How does Apple make that work for them? Remains to be seen on it. But it's smart. It's Xbox chasing what, of course, they have been wanting the whole time, which is to be everywhere and be, to be on the TV with the native Samsung app, right? To be on your phone right now via cloud gaming and remote play. To have something, again, that is organic and right there and ready to go. Makes sense.
Yeah. For me, the part of this article that jumps out to me is the part where they talk about an Xbox mobile storefront to rival Apple and Google. And I go back to what you were talking about, which is, all right, we'll see what Apple and Google have to say about that, especially when you're talking about mobile, you're talking about devices that are going to be manufactured or operated by either Apple or Google, right? You're talking about Apple or you're talking about Android. And with that, right, they already have their own stores, which they, in theory, already have monopolies on, right, in their own ecosystems. So how is Xbox going to come through and actually make a dent into that ecosystem. I think, out of all the companies that could do it, I think Xbox would be the one. And I go back to the part in this article where they mention, Microsoft hopes that by offering well-known and popular content, gamers will be more inclined to try something new, right? Their idea isn't necessarily that, hey, we're going to offer, I was going to say offer Candy Crush. Candy Crush is now Microsoft, which is weird. But we're going to offer all these mobile games that you already know from the Google Play Store or from the App Store and try to compete on a head-to-head level. I think it is going to be, hey, let's figure out what we do as Xbox, what we do well, what gamers like us for, and translating that to mobile in ways that take advantage of what we do, which is, cloud gaming, which is console gaming, which is, hey, we do have Call of Duty Mobile, and Call of Duty Mobile does have insane numbers. We do have these acquisitions with King that have all these mobile games that do have insane numbers already. How do we take those, combine it with Xbox, combine it with our ecosystem to make it great? I think there's something there, but to see how far they get, I think that is the question. I also want to bring in a question that you can write in. Of course, you can write in kindafunny.com/KFGD. Nanobiologist writes in and says, hey, y'all, so Xbox is trying their hand at a mobile storefront again. Could they succeed this time with the backing of cloud gaming, though? They failed once already with their mobile phones, actually kind of missed my Windows phone in earning achievements on the go with their mobile games. And they're going against
Which is a brilliant thing.
Of course, yeah. And they're going against mobile stores that are more or less monopolistic on their own devices. So in other words, this is more of an uphill battle than even the original Xbox's release was. Thanks, Nanobiologist. Greg, would you say this is more of an uphill battle than even the original Xbox?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But here's the other thing that's fascinating about this. And this is what's fun about Games Daily and getting snippets, getting peeks through documents. I wonder, especially as we started talking about this, what is this actually going to be, right? Attracting to a new Xbox mobile platform, an Xbox store on mobile. Again, on the App Store's games live and die by promotion. This is something I've heard time and time again from developers and PR and marketing people, right, who are putting things out in the app. If your app isn't featured, if it isn't a big deal on the store that day, right, your numbers suffer. And I'm talking about, even yesterday with the launch of Marvel Snap. The fact that it's out there, you open up the, when I opened it up to download it, didn't have to go anywhere. Bam, front page placement on the App Store on iPhone. That is something that I've heard over and over again, and you see radiate down, obviously, for smaller and smaller games. For an Xbox thing, if it was strictly, hey, we are coming to compete with this. We're going to be selling the games through the app. We're going to be selling. It just doesn't work because Apple is against that. We've seen them go to court about it, right? So let's reverse engineer then what it could be. What if it isn't so much the store as it is the mobile platform? What if it is the idea that, hey, the new version of Candy Crush is, and I'm talking way out my ass because I don't play Candy Crush anymore. I assume they're all free to play, right? But the new version is windowed on the Xbox Games storefront or whatever they want, or the game mobile app platform. It's windowed there for 30 days. But they're playing nice with Apple where they can still get promotion then for the Xbox app. And it's the only way to play Candy Crush 15 or whatever it is today. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something with achievements. Maybe it's more about just getting you into whatever this app is going to be where it'll house all your Xbox games that they have it. Maybe it again is it's a Game Pass benefit that you can get when you go in there. So you're not buying the games directly. You wouldn't be able to buy them through the app either, but you'd be able to get in there. They're kind of like Netflix. You get into the app. There's a whole bunch of free games in there already, but it's pushing you then to make an Xbox Live username to actually, hey, here are all the benefits. It'll have the Halo Infinite thing. You click on it. Well, if you sign up for Xbox Live or whatever, you pay for
That's kind of what
Game
Netflix
Pass.
does already, right? Right
Yeah.
now, Netflix is having their gaming push, and it is, hey, if you download the Netflix app on your phone, there's a tab that says gaming that then allows you to download and play different games, and that's how I play games like Exploding Kittens and I believe Immortality, I think, is on the Netflix thing.
It's going to be.
Or it's going to be.
Yeah, it was going to be. I don't know if it's there yet.
Yeah, and I think there's something there.
Is Oxenfree there?
The developer of Oxenfree
Some game
was
I love
developed by
is there.
Netflix, but I think you might be right. And also the dodgeball game that me and Tim talked about from Summer
That
Game
no
Fest.
one can remember.
That we can never remember.
Desta?
Yes, that sounds about right. Yeah, Desta. something.
Kindafunny.com/you're wrong if you want to correct us.
Yeah, but that is Netflix doing that, right? If you think about that idea and take it to Xbox, for Xbox, everything comes back to Game Pass. And if it is, hey, because of restrictions on this platform, maybe we're not able to sell you these things piecemeal, but it is, you are paying for Xbox Game Pass and you are downloading the Xbox app. And through that, you're getting access to Call of Duty Mobile, you're getting access to Candy Crush, you're getting access to maybe even like Fortnite or Plague Tale or other games that are on Game Pass already via cloud streaming.
Yeah.
I think that then opens up and becomes something that maybe doesn't compete one for one in terms of, oh yeah, you're coming here to play all your games, but I think it does allow Xbox to exist on both Android and Apple in a way that is beneficial to the overall ecosystem because it becomes about those Game Pass subscriptions as opposed to competing one for one directly with Apple and probably losing that battle in the end.
For sure. Yeah,
Alright.
and that's, I think, the way you'd have to juggle it, right? Of similar, exactly what you're saying with what Netflix is, where Netflix obviously gets promoted. It has games inside it, but it's not so much that, hey, you're buying those games in there, or that's what it is. So I think right now we think of storefront one way, especially mobile storefront, Xbox mobile storefront, where I think just legality and what it would have to be very different.
Yeah, and I think this also makes it make more sense of the push of Xbox to go, hey, we're going to put mobile controls into all these games that
100%.
you have on cloud gaming, right? Let's make these games playable. And that's, of course, already dope because it makes cloud gaming easier and it makes it beneficial for Game Pass already. But yeah, take that and translate it into a mobile push. Makes even more sense and I think might do really well for them. But Greg, that's not it in terms of big Xbox news. We got story number 2. Call of Duty may not appear on Game Pass for a number of years. This comes from Jordan Midler at Video Games Chronicle. Call of Duty games seemingly won't appear on Game Pass for a number of years due to an existing deal between Activision and Sony. Microsoft recently published its response to the Competition and Markets Authority's decision to review the $69 billion merger due to several concerns, including the impact of competition in the console, game, streaming, and subscription spaces. In it, a footnote references a tweet from Phil Spencer alluding to prior agreements between Activision and Sony, which would prohibit Microsoft from adding Call of Duty to Game Pass, even in the event of the acquisition being approved. Quote, the agreement between Activision Blizzard and Sony includes restrictions on the ability of Activision Blizzard to place Call of Duty titles on Game Pass for a number of years, the footnote reads. It's been speculated that, should the acquisition be finalized, Call of Duty, which is often the highest-selling game of the year across all consoles, would appear on Microsoft's subscription service, thus severely undercutting Sony, where the game would be sold for full price. However, it now appears that even should the merger happen, this couldn't happen for some time. Sony and Activision entered into a co-marketing deal for the Mega franchise during the PS4 generation, a relationship it has maintained until now, with even this year's Call of Duty title receiving PlayStation exclusive perks. Greg, Call of Duty not coming to Game Pass, at least for the foreseeable future.
For a few years, yeah.
How you feel about that?
I say Barrett hit the smoke. We got him. P.S. I love you. PlayStation for the win. You kidding me right there? We were worried about all these Xbox. We shouldn't be. No, I'm kidding. I think it's fascinating, and this is, again, like, it's funny, I see the chat going by, and the people are like, oh my God, Sony being petty, big surprise. Oh my God, PlayStation's throwing a tantrum, yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, number one, it's a business, and they're trying to protect their business, which I understand, but number two, as this, Phil Spencer call out in the footnote, right, that they're talking about in the article, it talks about, like, this was a pre-existing relationship or restriction, right, agreement with Activision Blizzard, which makes perfect sense, where we wonder all the time why a game isn't on Game Pass, or something even like Deathloop. Thank you very much. Where of course that comes to PlayStation after Xbox has bought the studio, but it still gets its year plus of exclusivity right before it can go over to Xbox and do it. Like that's the business of it, and that's the the modern console war. When I started at IGN, obviously in 2007, a freaking lifetime ago, console war was like, oh, well, who's gonna get the exclusive on this game? Who, it's awesome that Grand Theft Auto's only come to PlayStation, yada yada yada, stuff like that. And some of those, deals still exist, but they are way more rare. Now it is about owning the studio, or it is about having a deal for Game Pass or PlayStation Plus / PlayStation Now / PlayStation Plus Premium. That's where you're seeing these arguments really get done, and you're seeing them get done in the boardroom years before, and this is one of those revocations where Xbox can come out and they can buy it, but just like I feel like we've been talking about, literally as long as we've been doing Kinda Funny, probably when we were at IGN, it's all about Xbox setting up the dominoes.
Yeah.
And one day they're going to hit it, and they are going to go brrrr, and it's like,
in
oh
like
shit.
2025, we're going to be playing fucking Fallout.
But then this big,
New
beautiful
Vegas
machine,
2.
this PlayStation 5 keeps making moves out there, bless. You know what I mean? It keeps making its own moves, and it'll be interesting to see, when Call of Duty does exit this section and they are able to go to Game Pass, what happens. It'll also be interesting to see, Phil Spencer, a straight shooter, and Xbox always, I think, says what they can say. This is out there via, this agreement and acquisition approval documents,
filing.
right? What happened? Will Phil talk about that when he visits, McCaffrey to go do I want to say 3 red lights. That's not it anymore. The Xbox podcast said IGN.
Unlocked.
Unlocked.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
I thought you were talking about like the interview podcast that he does, where I don't.
Oh,
does
yeah.
he still do that one?
Yeah, he does them. He does them every now so often. I love those.
Yeah.
What is the
Like,
name of
I'll
that
tell
one?
you the
What's
name
the
of it
fucking name of that? Oh, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it.
It's like
I want to figure it out.
I just remember when I was there, it was like they would get devs in and
Yeah.
like they would like drink for like have a beer and then
I got it.
interview.
I got it.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
IGN Unfiltered.
Yeah.
A
Nailed
great
it, Greg.
podcast series you should all go listen to. Yeah, anyways, though, how Phil will respond to that and what they'll talk about there. And like, yeah, these are the business arrangements everybody has. And it's still, it reminds me so much of, and this is definitely not how Xbox wants me to talk about it probably, but it reminds me so much of Monopoly, ladies and gentlemen, where you buy up the properties and then you wait a few turns while you get enough money in your pockets to start building houses to eventually go to that hotel. And this is them owning the properties, right? And they're going to get the money off of Call of Duty no matter where it's being played until eventually they can put that hotel down that is, hey, Call of Duty is, whatever Call of Duty is officially going to be on Game Pass day and date. Like, we're ready to go for that.
I love doing this show live because there are people coming in being like, yo, why is there a bunch of bleach on the desk right now?
Be on time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10 a.m. Pacific.
10 a.m. Pacific
Each and
time.
every weekday. YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames, Twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames.
I do
I'll
imagine
explain my bleach then and never again.
I do imagine though that whenever Phil Spencer goes on Unlocked or Unfiltered or whatever the podcast or interview is that he
Maybe
does,
XCast,
maybe XCast.
Twist his arm.
I think they would be open about this now that this is out there,
Sure.
right? Because I think the reason why you don't put this out there just regularly is one, you don't have a reason to, and two, right? Like,
Weird press release.
yeah, it's like, oh, by the way, PlayStation won't let.
We
like,
got Call of Duty and it's great. It won't be on Game Pass because of a pre-existing relationship with PlayStation.
Yeah, like that's not something you just throw out there, and I think it's something that you would only throw out there if you have reason to. And now that these the acquisition talks are happening, this is the reason to put that out there, right?
Yeah.
And like to some extent, right, it's a legal reason, right? Hey, we have to put this out there because it fits our argument of why it's necessary for us to be able to put this or be able to acquire this company.
Yeah.
And why we don't look at this as monopolistic or whatever the argument they're trying to make is. With that though, like, yeah, I think now that it's out there, sure, why not talk about it? Because this doesn't look bad for Xbox. Like in terms of the audience conversation that we have about it, I feel like with every new piece of info that comes out, it is always, oh man, PlayStation did what? Oh man, Jim Ryan's flying where to say what? Oh man, they won't let Xbox do X, Y, and Z thing. It does look more negative on the PlayStation side as opposed to negative on the Xbox side in terms of the actions that are being made, even though all of it is pretty like standard business, right?
Yeah,
This is a
100%.
conversation we had weeks ago. I believe it was me and Tim, because we had the conversation of PlayStation blocking games in general from Game Pass, not just Call of Duty, and it came back to the thing of, yeah, like if I'm PlayStation and I have a marketing deal with, let's say, Street Fighter, right? Since
Yep.
Street Fighter was in the state of play, it's going to be a big release on PlayStation. Yeah, I'm gonna go, hey, Capcom, let's put somewhere in writing that this game doesn't come to Game Pass for 6 months at release or a year or whatever it
100%.
may be.
So that is not the most common. That is incredibly common. Exactly what you're talking about. Yes, that is the kind of stuff that comes with it. Of course you would do that. Same thing if you're putting a game on PlayStation Now, right? Or I'm sorry, PlayStation Plus Essential Premium Plus. You put it on there, you're going to have those kind of wrinkles in there. Because, yeah, you're making an investment in this game and you don't want the investment to go towards, okay, cool, well, I'm going to go get it for free on the subscription service I already have.
Yeah, exactly. And I do like that this is coming out too as well, because I want to say we've had conversations about, oh yeah, dude, once the entire Call of Duty catalog comes to Game Pass, oh man, think about that moment. In the same way that happened with Bethesda, where a bunch of Bethesda games came to Game Pass after that acquisition. I think once that happens with Activision Blizzard, specifically with Call of Duty, there's going to be maybe a month or so where people are like, yo, let's hop on Black Ops. Like, let's hop on, World at War, or whatever the classic Call of Duty game that they identify with. I've been waiting for that moment. Now I know that the moment's not going to happen for years, but at least I know why.
See, here's the interesting thing about it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Is that part of it true? Because this is,
question.
very much the footnote says restrictions on the ability of Activision Blizzard to place Call of Duty titles on Game Pass for a number of weeks. It's not saying a ban, it's saying restrictions. And if I was a betting man, I would think the restrictions would be, especially if I'm an Activision Blizzard lawyer or whatever, I would think it'd be an annual thing where it's like the newest Call of Duty can't go to Game Pass for at least a year because the next year there'll be the new Call of Duty that's selling and going for it. I think you still very much, this deal goes through, I think you're very much still in the realm of possibility of, great, everybody, it's
last
gone through, and
15
guess
years.
what? Every Call of Duty before Call of Duty X is now on Game Pass and ready to go and for you to play.
I hope so, man.
I would definitely. I think that's
That's gonna be
definitely
a great
possible.
day. That's gonna be such a fun day, especially with the idea of those servers being repopulated. And
You're gonna enjoy the 5 minutes you play of each one of these. You pop in and go to the next one, and go to the next one, go to the next
I
one.
give myself 2 to 3 days of playing Black Ops and
Okay.
Black Ops 2 and going back and forth, playing Sticks and Stones, and then people eventually
Let's
being like,
play,
peacing out.
let's get into gun game.
Let's play
Remember
some gun game.
God,
Dude, I loved gun game.
hundreds of hours spent in that.
The other silver lining to this news story, if your Xbox is, they are laughing all the way to the bank. They, yes, of course, they would love to be able to publish Call of Duty to day and date to Game Pass. I'm sure when they even started sniffing around this deal, they knew that wasn't possible. And I don't think they care at this juncture. Because we have it, they are a first-party studio, and it's just filled with the cigar and all the money on the table. Like, it does, okay, great, it's still being sold over there, awesome. But let's keep it going. Let's have another revenue stream of the PlayStation audience buying this, and eventually we will turn the key where it is still maybe still being multi-platform, but being day-and-date Game Pass, because then it'll be goodwill, and the people over there that have been shelling out the $70 for it, maybe that is the time where they go, fuck. And I mean, we're way into the future, so who knows what Xbox Series box we're on, who knows what cloud gaming's like, who knows what the internet's like, who knows how we've all done it. Internet commenters will still be terrible, but
course.
the internet infrastructure and where we're at, like, I know I'm getting way heady with it, but like, who cares? Like, they don't care. This again is a long term. They're playing Monopoly here. They have Park Place and they have Boardwalk. Now he's got to roll the dice.
Just don't go to jail, Phil Spencer.
Don't go to jail, Phil Spencer. Horrible news today. Phil Spencer has been arrested.
Can you imagine that news story?
Don't joke about
Oh, I thought you were gonna do that. I thought you were gonna do
Smoke.
the smoke. I thought it was gonna be the smoke.
There it is. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Game Pass is a pretty good deal. You know what's a great deal? Patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where you can go and get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
Shout out to Shopify, the way that we and Rooster Teeth have powered the Kinda Funny store for years, and we absolutely love it. You can get this shirt there right now. Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Start selling with Shopify and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of your favorite businesses worldwide. Shopify has all the sales channels sorted so your business keeps growing, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. It's how every minute new sellers around the world make their first sale with Shopify, and you will too. Shopify makes selling simple so you can put yourself and your ideas out there. When you're ready to launch your thing into the spotlight, do it with Shopify, the commerce platform backing millions of businesses down the street and around the globe. Go on, try Shopify for free and start selling anywhere. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/KFgames, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/KFgames to start selling online today. shopify.com/KFgames. Next up, shout out to Raycon. I'm excited to tell you all about their new Raycon gaming series. The gaming series consists of 2 staple gaming audio products: the wireless gaming earbuds that are compact, portable, and universal, or the wireless gaming headphones that are comfortable and immersive. The HyperSync low latency technology lets you hear what you see lag-free. That's always great for games. Of course, because no gamer's just a gamer, Raycon's gaming series is just as perfect for music, podcasts, and crystal clear phone calls. Personally, I'm a huge fan of bumping these with a haptic vibration. It's the extra type of way that I like to live. It keeps me extra immersed in all of the sound. As always, you get a 30-day Raycon happiness guarantee with free shipping and returns, no questions asked. They also offer buy now, pay later options. So stay on the winning team and go to buyraycon.com/kinda today to get 15% off your Raycon order. You'll also get $20 off Raycon's gaming earbuds or $10 off their gaming headphones. That's buyraycon.com/kinda to score 15% off and even more savings. buyraycon.com/kinda. Plus, this October, Raycon's got some special pricing up to $20 off. Don't miss out. buyraycon.com/kinda.
Story number 3, Greg. The plot thickens with Bayonetta's former voice actor. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. Sources have disputed recent claims by former Bayonetta voice actor Helena Taylor, who said she was offered an insulting offer of just $4,000 to reprise her role in the 3rd game. In a series of videos published on social media over the weekend, Taylor, who has been replaced as Bayonetta in the upcoming Switch sequel by veteran Jennifer Hale, criticized developer Platinum Games and called on fans to boycott Bayonetta 3. However, sources cited in a Bloomberg report have now disputed some of the claims made by the voice actor, many of which VGC can corroborate via our own sources. According to people with knowledge of the situation, as well as documentation reviewed by both Bloomberg and VGC, Platinum intended to rehire Taylor last summer. It's claimed that Platinum sought to hire Taylor for at least 5 sessions. VGC's sources suggested it could have been as few as 4, with each paying $3,000 to $4,000 for 4 hours in the studio. This would have brought Taylor's total fee to $15,000, Bloomberg reports, as VGC can corroborate via our own sources. One person with knowledge of the deal claimed to VGC this represented a significant increase on Taylor's fee for the second game. According to Bloomberg, the voice actor responded by asking for a 6-figure sum as well as residuals on the game, a claim Taylor strongly denies. VGC sources echoed the residuals claim, but did not mention a requested sum. In private messages exchanged with VGC, Taylor called the suggestion that she was offered more than $4,000, quote, categorically untrue, end quote. She also labeled claims by sources that she would have earned $15,000 an absolute lie and a complete joke, end quote. Quote, I quite like to put this in the rearview mirror and leave the whole bloody franchise behind, she told VGC. Quote, so I think I'll just let my video stand. I spoke the truth, end quote. Greg, what a mess.
Total mess, Bless. And that's, the problem with these kind of stories, where when you get into dirty laundry, this is inevitably what it boils down to, right? Where it's this he said, she said. I remember it with, I remember a million different instances with it, right? But I remember when Troy Baker and Randy Pitchford were going back about why Troy wasn't back for Borderlands 3 as Reese, right? Who he was in Tales from the Borderlands and stuff like that. And like watching these different, and it's like clearly there's been a miscommunication on someone's part. You know what I mean? And here it's the same way, where clearly someone, like I shouldn't speak out of turn. I don't know Helena at all, like not even in passing. I don't think I've ever met her. So I can't speak to who she is. Reading these articles, watching the videos and stuff, keeping up with the news, like I doubt that she was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking straight up lie about all this. You know what I mean? I feel like there was somewhere something got off track of what somebody was saying to you. Because that seems like whenever stuff like this happens, it's a miscommunication, right? But it comes down to like, what is your time worth and what is your body of work worth, right? For this to be the 3rd Bayonetta game, for her to be the voice of Bayonetta, to get to this point, like, this is something, more and more you see with video games of people like, well, I am the character, right? Like, it is fucked up. I don't get residuals off of this. Like, Bayonetta is so huge and in so many other things, let alone, from, toys and plushies and other games and things like that, like Smash or whatever. Like, where does that go, and like what does make Bayonetta, and how do you deal with that, and where do you go with that? And so, we're talking a bit again out of turn on this one. We're not. I mean, I do voice acting here and there, but for me, that's always a sure. I'll do whatever. Like the last thing I ever asked is how much is it gonna pay. Trust me, when they came around, like, do you want to be in Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed? I was like, yes. They're like, do you want to know how much you get? I'm like, I don't care. Whatever. I'm in a Ghostbusters game. Let's fucking go. But that's because it's not my career. It's not my job, right? And so when you get to this level of it and have it, like, what is your time worth and what is your talent worth and what do you want to do? Like, that's always the thing, you know what I mean? Of like, what do you put on yourself as a premium? What is your day rate? What makes this job worth it for you? And so for her to get this far into it and have this happen, like, there's got to be truth that whatever they were offering wasn't worth it to her and what she wanted out of it.
Which I think that part is understandable, right? Like $15,000, way more than the $4,000 that was claimed originally, right? And that was the one where we're all like, oh, fuck that. That's an insult. Like, how would they offer you $4,000? $15,000, more money, but even still, like, I understand being the voice of Bayonetta and wanting more than that and wanting residuals. I think residuals is a huge thing.
And not to mention, again, like, to the point here, right? Like, and so, like, what's interesting, to take one step back to the $4,000, what the hell? Like, I can, and maybe I'm wrong, but I can see where that could be a miscommunication. Where it was, especially if they're saying, no, $4,000 a session, right?
Yeah.
But the train got out of the station and that got lost and that's not what you thought, right? But to leave it all behind, like, this is negotiation. This is the gamble, right? Of like, all right, cool, I'm going to do the 3rd game for you. I want more for it.
Yeah.
And for, the Bayonetta team to be like, no, you're not worth that much to it or whatever. Like, there's truth on both sides of that argument for both people's case for it. And I'm sure then you get to that point where it's like you gambled, you lost, you're in negotiations, and they don't want to give you what you want. You either have to, okay, cool, compromise, or come down to what it originally was, or walk.
Yeah.
And she chose to walk.
I want to bring in a question from Tyler Cobbs, who wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, "What's up, KF crew? First off, congrats on the new studio. It's beyond amazing. Beyond.
Yeah.
With Jason Schreier's reporting that Helena Taylor was offered significantly more than what she originally claimed has me in a troubled state. If it's true that Helena was lying, that means that the next time a voice actor or actress comes forward with mistreatment or being underpaid, I'm going to naturally be more skeptical of their claim. After all, if Helena lied, then who's to say that the next actress to come forward isn't also lying? What is your reaction to this turn of events, and how does this impact your perception on anyone in the future who comes out with allegations against the publisher's actions? Thanks, Tyler." This whole thing, I think, is loaded, right? I think I want to start with the idea of, I guess, the sequence of events here, right? Because, of course, this started this last weekend with Helena coming out with the video talking about them offering her $4,000, her being like, that's an insult, not doing this thing, yada, 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 and then Jason Schreier coming forward with the report. I think with that series of events of Helena coming forward about the $4,000, I think the bulk of us did the right thing, and that was believe her, right? Oh, man. That's what they offer you, and oh man, that sucks. Especially for the fact that this doesn't change the fact that voice actors are criminally underpaid a lot of the time.
Sure.
Right? Like it's been talked about a lot in the voice acting community, right? Between video games and between like anime and stuff. That like, yo, we got to get paid more money. The rates that we're getting is unfair.
And also just like workplace treatment and stuff like that. Like the dubbed voice actor for Mob Psycho 100, like the lead voice actor was trying to negotiate with Crunchyroll on like not even money, but just, hey, I want better working conditions. And then they just straight up replaced him because they're like, no, we're not dealing with a union because he was a part of a union. And
Yeah.
a lot of voice actors aren't.
So Kevin just came through and interrupted Barrett.
That was just I didn't see Kevin.
No,
I
that
just
was my
heard-
point.
It was like
that was
such.
my point.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Which is pretty much just like, like maybe form a strong union that can help negotiate and protect workers.
Well, I mean, they have SAG, don't they? And I mean, I don't know about the anime if they're working with that.
I think a lot of Texas-based voice actors aren't.
That's accurate.
Apart.
That's accurate. Yeah. SAG isn't. You're right. Everywhere.
But yeah, like, I think you start off by believing Helena, right, and supporting her, especially assuming that is true. But I think when the follow-up happens and you have reputable reports that are Jason Schreier coming out and being like, hey, I saw the documents, I talked to the sources, and this is what was presented. And then you also have it being corroborated by other sources as well, right, or by other outlets, being VGC in this case. I think you then do the very human thing and you go, all right, I've been presented with more information. Now I'm going to change my mind, right? Or now I'm going to take that and have it inform my opinion, right? You can only do what you're presented with, right? In terms of information, you can only act based upon that. And so I think with that, like I would always suggest lead off by believing the people who are victimized and people who might not have as much power in the situation. And the battle between Helena and Platinum Games, I assure you, Platinum Games is going to be fine, right? It is Helena that has way more to lose in this scenario. And so I'll always side with Helena from the get-go with that. When I'm presented with new information that says, hey, actually Platinum Games offered, yada, 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 cool. All right, cool. I guess Platinum Games wasn't all the way in the wrong, right? And that's how you move forward. For me, this doesn't change anything in terms of new people coming forward and me going, oh, no, I'm not going to believe this voice actor because the last one lied or whatever it is.
Again, I don't even go that far with it, right? Where Capes, is that what we said? The question is of like being shook up. Like, yeah, definitely going to believe the next voice actor that comes through talking about these things and yada, yada, yada. But it's the same thing. This is always happening behind closed doors. This is always negotiations. These are always negotiations gone wrong or ended or whatever. Like, even with the documentation, right, that we're talking about of, according to Bloomberg, they have this. VGC echoed the residuals, so they asking for residuals, but not a mentioned requested sum. So with a six-figure sum, let's say is or isn't real, right? The residuals were real. I don't think residuals are outrageous to ask for as an actor, especially if you're talking about, like, if we look at how television and TV actors are paid. But then let's even remove all that and strip it back down to, right? Do you think the voice work for Bayonetta is worth $15,000? Is that a reasonable sum for it? And here's where you get into the fact of, like, I don't think that is for me, at least, to judge. I do not know what Jennifer Hale's day rate is. I don't know what she makes for 4 sessions, right? With what it was, 4 hours, each session being 4 hours. and getting for Helena's offer $3,000 to $4,000, right? Coming out to a total on the high end, right, of 15. Like, is that still an insulting fee for the third game? Like, I don't know. And again, like, this is where we're in other people's dirty laundry, and we don't have all the information from it of what was said. You know, what was the jump in payment from Bayonetta 1 to Bayonetta 2? I assume, I'm talking out of turn again, but when Bayonetta pops up in other stuff, as she has here and there, Helena's doing the voice, right? Like, is she getting, are they asking her to work? Oh, it's just this much, so do this, and we'll get you on the next game. We'll do this kind of thing. Again, none of that, I think, is for us to decide. The long and short of it is that Helena feels her investment as the character of Bayonetta is worth more than $15,000. And I'm not one to sit here and say, yeah, it is or it isn't. Like, you know what I mean? As not a fan of the game, as not a professional voice actor, as not somebody who's making video games and understanding how much everybody who makes the video games get paid. Like, there are so many moving things here that the one thing you can come down to is that for her, that is not worth that amount of money. And what you want to do with that information, I know she was calling for fans to boycott the game, and like I saw it in our chat, even people being like, "Well, this puts me in a sticky situation." Like, you have to decide what all that is worth to you. In the same way, she has to decide what her time's worth, and that's what this all comes down to: is what is your work day worth? What is your time worth? I'm sure so many of us look at this and go, $15,000 to go in there and get to be a video game voice actor, blah, blah, blah. That sounds awesome, and it's like. That is awesome. It's as somebody who gets to do voice work, it is awesome. It's really cool. It's also taxing in a very weird way to go into a booth all by yourself and have these lines on a page that you go through and then listen back and do things over and over, say the same line 4 to 5 different times. Do like, again, she's a professional, not a blockhead like Greg Miller who goes in there. It takes way too long. But what is her time worth? I don't think this is. I read this. And even if it's the miscommunication, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's a straight up lie. Maybe she completely understood it was $4,000 a session, but she said $4,000 just to get the community behind her, blah, 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 blah. All that information, that smoking gun, if you wanted to go that far with it, I don't think this will even come up when Alf's voice actor pops back up, and they're making an Alf game, and I'm gonna get Alf on as many shows
as the main actors for Jujutsu Kaisen 0 got paid $140 for that voice gig, and stuff like that.
But this is always this is where we get into this the whataboutism. The whataboutism kills every conversation if you let it, right? Of like, this is unfair, but that's also fucked. Yes, that is also fucked up. But I'm trying to the whole fucking thing is fucked up. I will not name names. You know that I know a lot of different people. I once met a person who was in a cartoon that I loved in my high school, college, whatever thing, and I found out that they got $800 for the entire season.
Jesus Christ.
And they were, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what her day rate normally is. I don't know what she thinks Bayonetta is worth to her. And also, but again, like, we're not there. And like, in the same way, people look at us all the time like, man, Blessing Greg, your job's awesome. You get to play games and talk about games. And it's like, you are correct. That is 100% correct. But then you can see the gray hairs in my beard and everything else and, being tired and whatever else. And all the things that come with any job, the downsides of it, right? Where you have to decide what is the investment you're putting into this job worth to you. And so whatever's going on in the VO booth for her and the after effects of Bayonetta just being a big character in quotes, $15,000 isn't worth it to her. And so the next time some voice actor pops up and is like, I didn't come back because they didn't offer me enough money, I'm not going to be like, you fucking liar! You fucking liar! No, that's not what's going to pop up. I'll be like, oh, I understand. That's what this whole thing is.
100%. Story number 4, Konami has leaked their own Silent Hill reveal ahead of today's stream.
God damn it.
This is from Catherine Castle at Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Konami might have just accidentally leaked the reveal of one of the new Silent Hill games due to be announced later this evening. Earlier this week, the publisher announced there would be a Silent Hill transmission stream taking place today, October 19th, which would provide the latest updates on the series. At the time, there are no streaming links available, but in their setting their YouTube page live this morning, Konami jumped the gun and included some of the game names being revealed. And it's the big one, folks. Spoilers within, obviously. We don't want to be spoiled for a stream that's happening later today for what the game is going to be. Fast forward. I don't know what to tell you. Don't go on Twitter because it's already out there. The YouTube description has since had a veil of fog descend on it to remove the name of the game in question, but not before it was spotted by eagle-eyed Twitter user Nibel.
How does Nibel do all this? You know what I mean? Like,
just a limited time
on the internet all the time, just ready to go. Gonna click on every link. Gonna click on everything.
Blessing has a theory about Nibel.
I do have a theory
good.
about Nibel.
That's really good. No,
Have you
we
heard my
won't-
theory?
I
I'm
haven't.
not gonna say it here. No.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Are
I
you
got a
Nival?
theory.
AI,
Are you Nival?
yeah.
Am I? I mean, am I? You know? I then put
They
the.
call him Nival Poppy.
Call me Nival Poppy. Going back to the article, I then put the page through. I'm almost scared to like say that I have theories because now I feel like I have like a sniper shot on me. Somebody's gonna take me out. I then put the page, and this is again the article talking. I then put the page through the Internet Archive to see if I could glean some info for myself. And yep, that sure is Silent Hill 2 sitting right there. Woo! The page also makes reference to the souvenir shop Sweet Factory, which was a location in Silent Hill 3, suggesting there might be quite a few announcements lined up for this evening's stream. Other Twitter users have also scoured the page's metadata to reveal a third and maybe even a fourth potential Silent Hill game being announced later as well. With PlayStation and Steam releases mentioned in the mix too, excellent news for long-suffering Silent Hill fans on PC. There have been plenty of Silent Hill rumors doing the rounds in the last few months. The big one is that Layers of Fear developer Bloober Team is doing the Silent Hill 2 remake, but there's also been talk of a completely new entry in the series that might be set in the UK. Greg, I want to hop out of that story into a question for Michael Restov D'Angelo, who writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, with the Silent Hill showcase occurring today, do we actually have any real hopes for a new game being good? Konami has continued to disappoint us for years now, and there hasn't been a truly good Silent Hill game in almost 13 years. Are they capable of developing a good Silent Hill game anymore, or a good game in general? Additionally, there are also rumors of other teams working on games, the biggest one being Bloober Team. Although I don't have faith in that possibility either, do you think an actual good Silent Hill game comes from this showcase, or should this franchise just stay buried? Hey.
Of course. I mean, do you have real hope for a new game being good? Of course. You know, why do we do this if we think every game's going to be garbage, right? Like, Konami has taken a lot of time off, and I'd like to imagine they have partnered with people who understand what people saw in Silent Hill and what they liked for it. And, you know, love them or hate them, the Bloober Team is making a lot of horror games out there, and I know it's hit or miss, whatever. I was saying by it, the medium was not great. It was like, 6.57, but I enjoyed my time with it. I got in, I got out, and that was a more classic callback to it. So I have hope that, one of these games would be good, that they would be able to do this, that a modern Silent Hill could be cool. The problem is, like, what do you want out of it, right? Like, I feel like Japanese horror is so much different than Western horror, and so much different than et cetera, et cetera. So who the teams actually are, what they're actually trying to achieve could be something different and interesting. But a remake of Silent Hill 2, like, hey, man, people love Silent Hill 2. Why not give them a shot at it? I'm excited to see what happens tonight. I'm not excited, like, where I got to sit down and watch the entire stream, but
yeah,
let's go.
I'm in that same place where I'm curious about it. I'm not excited, but that's just because I'm not a Silent Hill person, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think for the way that they're approaching it, seemingly it being rumored that Silent Hill 2 is being remade, I think that's one for the fans, right? And especially if you're giving it to Bloober Team, which again, I feel like every single time I talk about Bloober Team, I always have to say no offense to Bloober Team, but no offense to Bloober Team. I don't look at Bloober Team games as being like hey, we're making something AAA that everybody has to stop the world for and play. It's like, no, these are horror games for a niche audience that might get them on Game Pass and play them and go, all right, cool, that was a horror game I played, and then move on with their lives.
I feel like there's such a, don't get me wrong, this is going to sound insulting to an entire genre, but there's such it's a horror game. Like, when I sit down to play a horror game, whether it be Layers of Fear, whether it be the Blair Witch Project, whether it be The Medium, whether it be any of those AA, what was that one, the fucking game I fucking hated and I gave a horrible review to, the one with the twins and it was really graphic or whatever. It wasn't a Bloober Team.
Is dead.
Martha is dead. When I get those codes and I request that thing and I want to review that kind of horror game, I know what I'm getting. And I feel like it's the same way when I turn on Shudder, which I fucking love, and I love just having a horror channel. A lot of the stuff when I click on it, I know the kind of horror movie I'm getting. Yes, of course, there are let's go all the way to the top AAA. Here's Dead Space. Here's Callisto Protocol. Here's us trying to do something that's really, Resident Evil 2. You know what I mean? Like, I get that there can be amazing, amazing horror games, but you come down here and there's this horror game section of like, yeah, okay. I understand, and I'm in for the weird doll crawling around, and it's gonna be kind of janky, and it's gonna be whatever. Now, the question to reflect back on then is like, will fans be happy with no, it's a whatever Silent Hill. We got a horror game that has Silent Hill on it, and it's a 6.5. It's it had some fun jump scares, but I hated this and it was clunky and whatever. Like, probably not. So you hope it'll go up a bit, and you hope Konami will understand that, and you hope Bloober Team, which I do think has talent and knows horror and has ideas, maybe with a Konami-backed budget, maybe with that kind of time frame, maybe with we're giving you Silent Hill. We've seen what you've done in these little projects, and people like them, even though some people hate them. What can we do on a bigger scale with more time? Maybe that's the fix.
And my prediction with it is I think Silent Hill 2 is going to be somewhat of what you're talking about, right? If it is developed by Bloober Team, it's going to be hey, we're taking that, we're using the Konami budget, and we're using our talents as Bloober Team to bring this game back for fans. But I also think at the same time you announce a next step for Silent Hill. This is what the new Silent Hill game is. This is the AAA thing that you might want, or you might be thinking that you would think about when you think of Silent Hill next generation, right? Like I could see that
Put it
being
in space. I love it.
But in space, I can see that being there too. I think the question though comes back to Michael here talking about Konami, and is that what Konami wants? Is that the direction Konami is going to take it? I don't have that kind of trust in Konami to deliver on that level, but I would like to see them try it, right? And I think if they're able to do that, what says that they can't do Metal Gear Solid the same way? Right, give me some remakes and then give me a new one, but bring back Kojima.
Don't let Bloober Team do the Metal Gear Solid remake.
You don't want Bloober Team to do a Metal Gear Solid remake?
No, I'm good on that. Thanks.
Oh man, well
Good
think
on
about
that,
it. It'd be
thanks.
all
Blue point
janky.
or nothing, bless.
It'd have tank controls. You don't want a Metal Gear Solid with tank controls?
I'm good, brother.
Oh, man, you're missing out. You're missing out. Our last two news stories are basically just about a couple of games that are confirming they're not delayed. Let's start off with story number 5. Spider-Man 2 is still on track for 2023. This is Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Insomniac Games has reassured fans that its highly anticipated Spider-Man 2 is still on track for a 2023 release date, despite the developer going quiet since its reveal last year. As reported by DualShockers, Insomniac weighed in on a conversation between fans on Twitter who pointed out that it's been more than a year since any significant updates on Spider-Man 2 were released. Though it didn't confirm when we'll hear more about the game, Insomniac instead explained that...
What do you want him to say? Let him promote God of War. God damn it, there's a marketing plan, and you guys eat it up.
Where's the show? Where's the PlayStation Showcase, Greg? Insomniac
Well, I
instead...
heard that was delayed because of...
Actually, I do want to talk about that because I saw that floating around. Explained that it hasn't shown off more of the game for logistical reasons rather than any issues with development. Quote, "Don't be worried. We're making good progress, and it's still slated for 2023. Showing games takes time, effort, resources, and coordination," end quote, the developer said. Greg, are you referring to the rumors/story making around that, like, PlayStation delayed the showcase because they're in the argument with the CMA about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because I read that and I was like, is this KFGD or is this not? Because I don't believe this.
That was one of those, I saw the headline and read the headline, and I was like, I don't know about that. And I went out with my life. I didn't even actually read the story for it.
I think maybe there wasn't a showcase because maybe they just did a state of play recently that was about God of War.
Yeah.
And that they're just not doing a showcase.
That's one way to look at it, Who knows?
I know, insane idea.
And I think it could be like, a little bit of column A, B, and C when it comes to reasons why you wouldn't do a PlayStation showcase right now, right? Like you talked about God of War, Ragnarok being around the corner, and just focus on that. There was a state of play. Hey, man, maybe in their arguments about this Activision thing, they want to make it seem like PlayStation doesn't have a fucking great showing right now, so let's not have a PlayStation showcase. But I do think that is the most extreme of reasons out of all the ones mentioned here. But yeah, cool. Spider-Man 2, still on track for 2023.
Let's go.
I'll believe it when I see it, though. I want it to happen.
That one I believe.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm taking it strictly off of an interaction I had with James Stevenson a long time ago on Twitter, where I made a joke about I was wearing the Spider-Man shirt from Spider-Man 1 that they gave out at some convention, and I was something like he was like, "Oh, nice shirt," and I was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to get a Spider-Man 2 shirt next year," and he's like, we don't usually give out shirts for games coming out that year. And I was like, oof, damn, ice cold response on that. All right, let's go.
Oh shit, let's see. Story number 6, Callisto Protocol also confirms it's not delayed.
Woo!
And is getting 60 FPS. This is Ryan Weston.
Man. Yeah, they're like, yo, fuck Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights like, why?
Yeah, what did we do?
Why'd you swing on us? We didn't mean it.
An absolute
It's co-op. Don't you want that?
Stray bullet at Gotham Knights for no reason. This is Ryan Weston at IGN. Don't panic. The Callisto Protocol isn't delayed, and it'll be getting a 60 FPS mode too. Developers announced via Twitter that the upcoming game from Dead Space creator Glenn Schofield is still on its way on December 2nd, 2022, despite a post from the Epic Games Store listing release date of February 12, 2023. Quote, "We would love to inform you all that we will be shipping globally on December 2nd, and yes, we'll have a 60 FPS performance mode," end quote. If I'm the Gotham Knights development team, I'm heated. I'm starting beef. Next time I see y'all,
straight, man.
Yeah, when I see y'all at GDC next time,
I don't know.
I'm giving y'all mean
48
looks.
hours from the release of your game. Just get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ.
I think they started the beef with the whole 30 FPS thing, and then there wasn't that one
Listen, we'd
developer
love to try. We couldn't.
who was like, they blamed it on the Series S, and they were like, it's a potato of a console.
I didn't see that.
Now
damn.
that account is like deleted and shit like that. It's a whole fucking thing, Greg.
Yeah, that'll get you.
God damn, that's like God of War Ragnarok being like, yeah, our game's coming out and the puddles look gorgeous. Like, fuck the other games and
my
their
apologies.
puddles.
That was apparently a Rocksteady dev who tweeted out about the Series S, which is even weirder. I don't know.
Go back in your
Insane.
hole and finish Suicide Squad.
Fuck, man, Greg.
No, Greg, let's not treat devs like that. They're human beings. We can't be like, oh, go work on your game and never talk to us.
Yeah,
you know?
Greg.
You're
Gotta say
right.
about
I'm
that.
anti-dev, everybody. I apologize. I forgot.
God, how dare you? I can't wait for Suicide Squad to come out.
Really?
But that is just so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and grop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah.
Toxic Greg sending devs to hole. Good job, Chad.
Are you not excited for Suicide Squad? I'm a little excited.
Excited? No.
No?
Interested? Sure. I'm down to see more, but I stand in the same boat of just like, all right.
See, I've always been more excited for Suicide Squad than Gotham Knights, but I think that's just
Pedigree.
Rocksteady and
Sure.
pedigree. Yeah, exactly.
But I think they kind of have the same thing where it's like, oh, okay. Like I'm not jazzed to be
Yeah.
Red Hood. Oh, okay. I'm King Shark. Fun,
you're
you know.
not Jaspy King Shark
No.
or Deadshot?
Back to my
forget
whole
Deadshot's
back to
in
my
it.
little soapbox I had that wasn't. I said my piece and I got out of my way, but like.
Hmm.
No, I don't want to kill the Justice League. I'd like to be the Justice League. I don't need to always be the anti-hero. I know.
Out today, we got Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection for PC. We got the Valiant for PC. Of Blades and Tales early access for PC.
Wait! Breaking news! Hot Dog Mountain Man in the chat. Greg, did you hear Black Adam is bad? Exclamation! Thanks. Come dunk all over the DC kid. Keep going.
I got so like there's plans for Kinda Funny to go see Black Adam tomorrow.
Did you back out?
Yeah, I messaged him. I saw the reviews pop and immediately messaged him. I was like, hey,
We were all in the
I'm
room,
not
and
coming.
it seems like we actually have extra tickets. Bless, like I'm in. And then Bless takes one look at the Metacritic. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm not
Too
going to
many
sit
games
through
to play.
hours of that.
Sorry.
We got the last hero of nostalgia for PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X, which looks cool. I had tweets about that. People saying that me and Andy should check that out. So I'll add that to the list. But I'm playing a lot of games right now, so maybe I'll get to that in 2023. We'll see. Harmony's Odyssey is out today for PC. Hello Puppets Midnight Show for PC. Gas Station Simulator for Xbox Series X. Pneumo Capsula for Switch.
Nailed it.
Richmond 11 for Switch, and then Neo: The World Ends With You is out today on Steam, and I saw that it has a 25% off deal. New dates for you. Zombie Cure Lab will open for treatments on December 7th, 2022 via Steam, early access for PC. And then deal of the day for you, this comes from Wario64. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate plus Injustice 2 Legendary Edition bundle is $19.99 on the USPSN. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong as you got it wrong so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. We have one from Nano who says, Texas is a right-to-work state, meaning a person cannot be denied employment because of membership or non-membership in a labor union or other labor organization. Cool. Do I know what those words mean that I just read?
I mean, I think I don't.
I think the
that's
chat. It came up from you
the
talking
Mob
about
Psycho thing, but the Mob Psycho actor is an LA-based actor. That's why, and I just don't think a lot of voice actors from Texas just happen to be in a union. You know.
All right. Well, that's it for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tomorrow's hosts for KHD are going to be Greg and Tim. Woo! If you're watching this live right now, after this, is Hunt Showdown with Mike, Nick, and Andy. If you want to catch that stream later, you can subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Remember when we played Hunt Showdown?
I do.
That was a good day.
Yeah, but we were like, we never want to touch this game
We're never
again.
going to play this game again. It was a fun time.
That thing. Remember that Saturday where we played Fallout 76? And you and me were all like,
yeah.
hey, this was fun. I'm never gonna
do this
we're
again.
gonna do this again.
Because they didn't have not cross progression, but like dual progression, where I'm like in your game and doing shit for mine. I was like, I'm not doing this. If that's not the case.
I got no time.
I
for
got
this.
time for that. Remember, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Until next time, Game Daily. Greg, handshake.